Hold on to your mug. We're in for a wild night.
Greeting, traveler.
Welcome everybody to episode 64 of Born to be Wild, a Wild exclusive Hearthstone podcast where we have fun, hanging out with friends, talking about the Wild format of Hearthstone and spotlighting members of the Wild community. I'm your host, as always, Nate Wolf. It is great to be back on another beautiful Friday evening here in Portland, Oregon, joined by my good friend Hydra. Hydra, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing awesome, coming at you from just a little north of Nate up in Canada, It's kind of beautiful. It's a little dreary, but it's been hot, so I'm pretty relaxed to have a little cool evening, and I'm stoked for the show. We've got a really cool guest. Why don't you introduce him for us, Nate?
Yeah, we've got a really special guest joining us tonight. So he's a top legend Wild Hearthstone player. He is currently top 4 in our listener series. And coming to us all the way from Australia, welcome to the show, Maxiebon. How's it going?
Yo, it's going pretty good.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on.
Yeah, so excited too. I've been wanting to do it for like a year now, and now I actually get to do it, so that's sick.
Cool.
That's exciting. That's exciting. Hey, for people who may not be familiar with you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Just as much or as little as you're willing to share, but mostly like, how did you get started playing Hearthstone? What is it about the Wild format that you like? That sort of thing.
Okay, well, so I started my dad and my brother were playing, and I'm like, oh, sick, what is this? So I first started playing card games like Magic the Gathering. And my family was pretty into board games and card games, so I'm like, alright, I'll give it a shot. And I was really hyped on Shaman. I made some terrible elemental Shaman, but I just enjoyed playing with like my brother and my dad. But eventually I got kind of bored because I was bad, so I stopped for ages. And I came back, and as soon as I saw, like, I was watching videos of Solomon, like Ruffle and stuff, and they were doing Wild, I was like, oh my god, this is so much better than Standard. And immediately, like, for my birthday, I got like all the Wild cards and stuff. So I got really into Wild, and it was so much more fun because you got to do this crazy stuff, and you got to build your own decks with like so many more cards. So ever since, I've been like, oh, Standard is so much worse than Wild. Why not play with every card, right?
That's
Why
great.
not?
Yeah, so I started doing Wild.
So did you play?
I just don't see how you could rather play Standard.
Right? Did you play through any of the solo adventures?
Yeah. So on my birthday, I got like all the adventures, and I played through them and got the legendaries. But the first one I did was when I played Standard, but I got it because I just wanted free dust. So I dusted like double Arcane Giant and Barnes and all that stuff.
Oh no!
I regret that now because I had to craft the Arcane Giant. But all the other stuff I kept, so my collection's growing because in Wild, it's much easier to have a larger collection because you don't have to dust everything and like craft a bunch of stuff every season. So yeah, whoever doesn't play Wild, you gotta play Wild. It's so much better than Standard. True.
Wise words.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so true, though. You can build a collection, like, yes, it takes time, but they don't go away.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Spoilers. Sometimes they do.
Yeah.
But no. In general, it's such a smart idea. So, was this your first Blizzard game that you played then?
Was it? I think maybe it was, but it wasn't the first one I actually got into. Like I got into Overwatch and Diablo and stuff a lot more before I actually got into Hearthstone because I wasn't like it was way more mentally challenging to play a card game. So like at the like when I was younger, it was pretty hard to understand, and so it wasn't that fun. So I'd rather just play like Overwatch with my brother or Diablo with my brother and my dad. So yeah, it wasn't the first Blizzard game that I actually got into, but it might have been the first that I ever actually tried.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could definitely see that. It's the reason my wife doesn't play Hearthstone. She plays World of Warcraft, but she doesn't play Hearthstone because she says she has to think too much.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's so cool that you play with your dad and your brother. I think that's kind of how I got into it. Was my brother played and I saw it and it was like, oh wait, this is really cool. I want to play.
Every time
And
my brother on the track.
that's awesome. So are they playing at the same like competitive level as you, or have they kind of moved on to other things?
Well, Seb, my brother, has definitely moved on, unfortunately. He was playing like DMH Warlock and we all weren't that good, but he told me that he got like rank 12 and I was like, oh my god, rank 12, and this was on like 20 was the worst rank. But I was like, rank 12, that's crazy. And he was like, so good. And dad got Dad Legend, so
Yeah.
that's in I don't know if he did it in Wild. I think he only got Dad Legend in Standard, which is technically harder. So yeah, Dad was a god gamer. He got Dad Legend, sorry, like just before me, because I was playing that Evolve Shaman because Evolve was moved to Standard for a short amount of time, and so that's when I got Dad Legend as well. And getting actual Legend was unheard of at that time for me and my family. But yeah, so Dad is pretty good. Just a tiny bit behind me, and Seb doesn't play because he's a noob, unfortunately.
I'm sure that's what our kids say about us when we're not around. Oh, that's great. Hey, so let me ask you a question. You went from kind of playing casually, and you mentioned like rank 12 to now you're one of the top Legend players in the Wild format. What how would you describe that kind of journey of like hitting Legend for the first time and then climbing the ranks? Like, how did you learn and how did you keep getting better?
That's a really good question because it was quite random how I suddenly got better, actually. So the first time I hit Legend, I copied that some mech paladin, and when I first hit Legend, I thought I was like the best player ever. I was like, at this level, there's no luck. It's like, I mean, no, there's no, it's all luck whether you win or not, because of course we're making the best plays every time, but still, I wasn't that good. But I got Legend with the mech paladin because it was quite easy to play. You just vomit your whole hand, and then I kind of stopped because Demon Hunter became a thing, and I was quite unhappy playing against Demon Hunter. But I don't really know. It was quite random how I suddenly spiked from like really bad to okay to like actually good, because I stopped playing, and then when I came back in Ash of Outlands and picked up Pirate Warrior, I got Legend like really easily, and then I just took Darkglow Warlock. I think the main thing was Darkglow Warlock, and it was something that I could understand. I'm not sure why, but Darkglow Warlock's the main deck that I could just figure out like straight away, and I just climbed like with like a 70% win rate. So the main thing I was Darkglow Warlock was how I got high ranks, and it was awesome going from just really bad and just spikes to from really bad to okay to good. I'd say I'd rather that than just slowly get better, because it's kind of annoying to just get better by like a few ranks at a time. But yeah, I really don't know how it happened. It was really random how I just suddenly got a lot better at the game.
I guess Darkglare really spoke to you. Was there any streams you were watching, or like how did you learn to play that deck?
I think it's mainly just from playing it over and over. Yeah. I actually have stats. I think I played like 1,000 games in a week. It was, or something like that. It was crazy.
That'll do it.
Was not okay. It was too many games. Because all I wanted was to get rank 1, and yeah, it was mainly just from practice, playing so much in lockdown. Was the main thing, because when I was like okay, I didn't play a whole lot. I'd rather just go outside and hang out with my friends. But when it was lockdown, I was like, no, I'm trying to get a rank 1 Legend. It's all I want, and I just played a lot. So I guess it's mainly how much I played and only Dark War, because it was my first 1K by far. Before I got anything else, like 400 wins, I got Warlock to 1K because I was just playing Dark War. So yeah, maybe it's just because I got addicted to that one deck because it was so like satisfying getting the swing turns. Was the main thing with how I picked that one up.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, I think once you know, if you can learn a deck inside and out, you know all the plays, you know what you're looking for, you know the matchups, and then playing 1,000 games. I mean, that's incredible. So, and yeah, so you're you're in school full time, right? And with the lockdown, I imagine that gives you some more time to play. You don't have to work yet, is that right?
No. In lockdown, I kind of just tried to do my school as quickly as possible, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't do that well because it wasn't high school yet, so it was like I could still kind of get away with not really doing it very well because the teachers didn't care as much as in high school where you get like grades and stuff. So I mainly just played Hearthstone, and then for like 20 minutes I did my school. So yeah, I was a bit too into Hearthstone.
That's great. Have you do you have any friends that play?
Well, I kind of forced them to play, so they don't really play. It was like one of my friends, I built them a what was it? I built them like some Reno Hunter, and they got like platinum or something. But I don't know how much they actually like the game. But they're pretty into Magic because, you know, I was playing Magic before I played Hearthstone, and I still love that game. And they got into that, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make them play Hearthstone and see if they. And yeah, hopefully they do enjoy it. And a couple.
Oh, go ahead, Maxie.
Just because I make them, basically. I'm just like, yes, this is the game I play. You must download it, and they're like, all right, sure. And so
I think we're all guilty of that, trying to make your friends play Hearthstone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Sometimes. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask. You know, if you're comfortable telling people how old are you? I think this is kind of an interesting question, just because you're really young, but you're really like incredibly good at the game.
Thank you. Well, I'm turning 13. What is it? August 31st. So, in like 2 months, so the last day of winter. So it's a good time when like it's good weather in the last day of winter because it's kind of getting warmer. But it's still winter, so it's like it's a good time. So yeah, I'm turning 13 this year.
Nice. Almost a teenager. That's exciting. Yeah. That's exciting. Yeah. Can you remember that far back, Hydra?
I can tell you that my son is 12 years old, so I get to see what it's like every day. But I will say at the age of 12, 13, I was just getting into StarCraft and Diablo.
Yeah, I think I was too. How exciting! What a fun age. We got a couple old guys over here reminiscing. It's terrible. Hey, one final question before we move on, because we've got quite a bit to talk about tonight. How did you come up with your username? What is Maxiebon, or where did you come up with that?
Oh, well, it's kind of simple. At first, I was called Maxmeister on Hearthstone, right? And once I hit Legend for the second time, I was like, you know what? If I can get Legend and Standard, I'm going to try streaming. And so, eventually, I got Legend and Standard, and then I was like, okay, so I'm going to try streaming. And I was called Maxmeister because my dad called himself Jessmeister. And I was like, Sebmeister, Maxmeister, Jessmeister, the whole fam. But then I was called Nindavy, not like Mummeister, unfortunately, but whatever. So I was like, I can't use Maxmeister for Twitch. I can't remember why. It might have been like too long or something. But anyway, so I'm like, well, people at school call me Maxiebon because it's like an ice cream, and then it's my name. So it's like cool. So I'm just like, all right, I'll call myself Maxiebon. That didn't work. So then I did 1, 2, 3, 4, and so that's the legacy of my name. It's pretty simple.
Nice. There's, a lot of people have a story behind it, and it's always kind of fun to hear what the story is. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that you guys have the theme going though of the Meisters.
Yeah, the best.
It's pretty cool. I like that family connection.
Yeah.
Well, let's transition into seeing how everybody's week has been going. What you've been up to, either in the game or in real life. Nate, how you been doing? What have you been up to?
Yeah, good. Just another busy. I feel like I say this every single week, but like another busy week at work. But I've been jamming through Mass Effect. I just beat Mass Effect 2. I pumped like a ton of hours into it. Really fun. And so I'll start Mass Effect 3 this weekend. So that's been a blast. And then of course the new set came out, and so I've been playing a lot of Hearthstone over the past week, trying to check out the new cards and stuff. I had a really fun co-op session. I've been hanging out with Blutrane a lot, and Ben, and NHL, and 6J, and some of those folks. And hit Legend over the past week, so that was fun.
Nice.
Playing Blutrane's Murloc Shaman, and it was great. This month was rough. I'm in that like 10-star club still, and like 14 months in a row now, 10-star legend player. And so that last like little push is sometimes a grind, and I had 6 final bosses this month. It was just really it was like rough. But the Murloc Shaman, it was fun, and I wanted to play it, and I'm so close to getting 1K with Shaman. I'm somewhere between 30 to 40 wins away. And so Blutrane's telling me, like, play this. It's really fun, and it's really fast. It's great. And so I said, okay, cool, but you're going to have to show me how. And it's really just an aggro kind of tempo-based deck. There's definitely important decisions to be made. But it's just a ton of fun. And the combo of the Toxfin with the... oh, gosh, what's the card called? The... Flurgle. Yeah. That'll full clear a board. And there was one game where I pulled 3 Flurgles from the different random Murloc generator. It was so fun. And so I had an absolute blast playing that this week. And so I'll talk about the deck a little bit later. But yeah, it's been a great week. Maxie, how about you? What have you been up to this week?
So yeah, I had So randomly Corona came up, so I did a bit of homeschooling. So that also meant that I got to play a little more Hearthstone. And when the new mini set came out, there was like a bunch of stuff I wanted to try, but I was also like, all right, how much do I want to tank my rank? So I tried Aggro Shaman, was a lot of fun this week, because I used what's the new card? Wailing Vapor and the 3-mana Draw 2, which gets you some burst, and then you have Overload synergy. The elemental can be there are so many good elementals, so that card kind of carries. And I went about even with it, so it wasn't the best win rate, but I was kind of expecting less when it was Shaman, right? So anyway, so I also tried Cute Lock, because Ept Hopper, like the best Cute Lock player ever, friended me, and he co-opted with me, so he helped me play, and he carried me because he's a god gamer. And he also helped me.
That's so cool. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, I know, it's awesome. So he helped me with Cute Lock and Odd Paladin, because those are the 2 decks he plays. And I also tried Control Priest, because I saw Corbett was playing Control Priest, where you run double Dirty Rat, Mindrender or Lucia, and then double Insight, and those are the only minions, and double Raise Dead, right? So that's how you beat combo, and then you just have 27 full, 23 full clears. It's insane, but it's such a fun deck, because it's you think you've lost, and then you just top deck one of Priest's insane clears, and then just swing the board and win. It's kind of like Odd Warrior, but Priest. So I've tried that, and then also Tax Paladin, because I don't know if you guys know about, I used to play Rally Paladin. That was basically, you run Flying Machine and double Crab Rider, and then you just give your minions +9 attack in one turn. And that was my favorite deck for a while, until it got nerfed. But so I thought I'd try Tax Paladin, because it's really similar. So yeah, those are the decks I've tried. Decent win rate, and then Darkler, obviously, if I want to get high ranks. So yeah, that was my week of Hearthstone. A lot of good stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, as for myself, I'm happy this week is over. It was just so long at work. I've been so busy and doing the thing where I'm skipping my breaks and just working straight through and looking up at the clock and realizing like I've barely done anything like towards my goal for the end of the day. And this week, yeah, it's been rough. I didn't finish what I wanted to, and so I know next week I'm going in and my projects aren't complete, so I gotta continue on Monday. I was like this close to bringing home my laptop from work and just doing it over the weekend.
Oh yeah, been there, done that.
I decided like, nah, I can't. Like, yeah, sure, I'll impress my boss, right? Get all this stuff done, but I just decided it's way healthier to leave it for Monday. So
Yeah.
I figured that's probably the best idea. So I was working away on my rewards track on Asia, and I hit the level 100 on Asia. So that's triple level 100 on all the rewards tracks for my accounts now. So nailed it. I grabbed Malfurion again. So I grabbed Malfurion on all three because I've been playing all this Druid lately. And I figured, hey, I mean, why stop a good thing? So that's pretty cool. And I recently started playing a little Hunter because I noticed that Otters had hit Legend with a list that Corbett had created. So I decided to jam that. I'd like to get some more Hunter wins too. Hunter's like, I know it's usually been one of the more straightforward classes, but it's just like another class that I really I don't know why I would shy away from it, but I really didn't play a lot of Hunter. So I'm going to be jamming a bunch of Hunter here coming up as well, just tossing Druid and Hunter back and forth. I did have a hilarious game last night where I was playing the Hunter deck that we'll talk about later, and it was against the Stealer of Souls Mechathune variant, and it was either it's got to be turn 5, maybe it was coined out turn 4, I don't know, but they just hit the nuts like they always do, and it was played perfectly. They had it may have been turn 6 because actually I think they hemmed it at some point. I can't remember, but regardless, it was perfect. They annihilated me, but I didn't hit the concede button. I just wanted to watch, and this person accidentally played Cataclysm before they played Mechathune.
Rip.
They fully destroyed their deck. They did everything correct, and then it was Cataclysm. And I'm like, oh no, did they really?
That's
They
great.
did all the hard stuff, but they screwed up the 2 card. They put it in the wrong order. How?
In the wrong order. I couldn't believe it. It was so funny. So it just goes to show, man, like never concede. It was so funny. It totally worth it. It was totally
great.
worth it.
The APM decks, I think sometimes you get stressed because you're trying to do so much so quickly. That's pretty funny. I love that.
Yeah, but that's mostly been my week. I want to jam a little more Hunter. Just it's not a class that, like I said, I played too much of, and you see a lot of the same things over and over again, and it's just fresh. And what's fun is I like beating people with the deck that isn't necessarily super meta, which is really cool. Like it's a fun feeling, and it's a decent deck, and we could talk about it later. But that's basically been my week. I'm planning on jamming it this weekend, and just so happy that it's the weekend and we can finally relax and do the show. So all around pretty good, man.
Very good.
How about we talk about some Born to Be Wild listener series? What's going on there?
Yeah, this is exciting because not only we're towards the end, so we're wrapping up week 6. We've got 2 weeks left. So at the start of this week, well, I guess the other thing that's exciting is we've got one of our top 4 as our guest tonight. So that's really exciting. I'd be curious to get his impression of some things. So at the start of week 6, the challenge for this week is called This, Not That. And so every type of card is allowed. So minion spells, weapons, hero cards, everything is allowed. But here's the rules for this week. Each mana cost can only have the same type of card. So only minions, only spells, only heroes, or only weapons. And so what we wanted to do is force people to make a choice. For example, if you're playing Warlock in the 5 mana spot, if you're going to run Skull of the Minari, then you can't run Lotheb, you can't run Cube. If you want to run Blood Reaver Gul'dan in the 10 spot, you can't run N'Zoth. You got to pick one or the other. And so we try to still allow some meta decks or whatever, if you will, but make them suboptimal. So it really forced people to make a few choices. And there were still, I think, some decks that were pretty solid. Big Priest and was very solid, and I think Big Shaman was pretty good. We had some Token Druid was pretty much untouched. Electric Sheep City and I cast a match last night, Bane versus Martian Boo. And there was, I don't want to spoil it. If you guys haven't watched it, it'll be up on YouTube by tomorrow. But there was a pretty epic Big Priest mirror, which is fun to watch and really painful to play. So that was pretty fun. In terms of our top 8 going into the week, so we had Maxiebon, Corbett, Duocat, Martian Boo, Bane, Kenray, Swagwar, and Ben from Work. And as of tonight, so we record the show on Friday nights, all of our matches are complete. And so we have our top 4 right now. And so top 4 being Maxiebon, Martian Boo, Kenray, and Corbett. So Maxiebon next week, you'll be facing up against Martian Boo. And
I've already faced him once.
Right? Oh, that'll be a great match. I'm really excited. Martian is a wonderful human being as well. He's a great guy. And so that'll be fun. And then Kenray versus Corbett. And so we'll be in for a wild ride this week. I think it'll be fun. I do have a question for you, Maxie. From a player perspective, do you have any thoughts on this season? Things that you liked, maybe didn't like, things that we could do to improve the next season?
Well, so I know you guys already know this, but yeah, for a lot of people, the last year standing was tough. But I get it because you want to try something that's not Conquest, because doing the same thing over and over is kind of boring. And it actually helped me being last year standing, because it's actually crazy that Kenray and I both made it to top 4 because we've been helping each other the whole time, and we could only really come up with 2 or 3 good ideas. So if it was Conquest and we had to win with all of our decks, we had one terrible deck each time. So it would have been so much harder. So the fact that it was last year standing actually made it much easier for us. But that's the only thing that people were not happy about. The rest was having restrictions is so good. Having it's like adding 3 new sets and you have all these new decks you can build. So there's so many possible ideas. It's great, and you only have this short amount of time where you have to come up with the decks. It's such a fun new challenge, and yeah, I'm probably gonna join every season. So it's my favorite tournament by far. Getting having restrictions and stuff, it's awesome.
That's great. I'm glad to hear it. That's fun. We wanted to do something a little bit different. I think the idea was that THL already exists, and there's it has a home for competitive tournament style play, and we wanted to do something a little bit differently. And the idea of deck building restrictions means that they're not going to be meta decks. And so THL is fun. I'm subbing for Sheep this week. Sheep is on vacation to Oklahoma, and I'm filling in for him on THL. But that's kind of what we're playing is meta decks, and so I'm playing some Reno Priest and Secret Mage and that sort of thing. And so we thought for this, hey, let's do something a little bit different, and we come up with some kind of off the wall ideas. And sometimes it's Dragon, sometimes it's Death Rattle, sometimes it's all kinds of crazy stuff. So I appreciate hearing your perspective, and I think we've been collecting ideas for the next season to try to make it even bigger and better. So that's great.
Yeah. Also, because you know how I got my friends into it, so they don't have as many cards as me, obviously. Mm-hmm. So what we do is we do just like this. We come up with a restriction, and so we both on my account build a deck based on the restrictions, and we verse So you can borrow my decks. So we both use my account's decks with like restrictions, and it's so much fun getting to just have like a short amount of time to build a deck with restrictions, and it's like so sick that there's a tournament with prize money that's all about restrictions. It's like my favorite way to play Hearthstone is deck building. It's like so perfect for me. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. Like having a whole new challenge, because whenever there's a new set, I look at every card as fast as I can and try to come up with new decks. It's great. Yeah.
And you just get to do it over and over and over again, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Every week. And
That's
4
great.
decks.
I'm happy that you're having fun. That's great. It makes me feel good that we're doing this. It's definitely a lot of work behind the scenes, but it's all worth it to hear that people are having a good time. So happy about that.
This week I've got some pretty good ideas, because I don't think this gives too much away. 4 of my decks just happened to have the same amount of minions and spells. So I have 4 decks that I didn't have to change at all for this week. So I'm pretty confident going in.
Nice. For the people who are watching or listening, what he's talking about is, so when we're into top 4, the deck building restriction for top 4 is we left it pretty open. Aside from that, each deck has to have the same number of spells, the same number of minions, the same number of weapons, the same number of hero cards. And so you can build whatever you want, but then all 4 decks across the board have to have the same number count of things. And so if you want to put a weapon in one deck, really what it means is like, hey, if I'm going to play Pirate Warrior, like then the rest of my decks have to have a bunch of weapons also, that sort of thing. Or if I want to put a hero in one deck, well, now all my decks need a hero. And it also forces things like, you really can't put 2 heroes in unless you're going to be, well, I don't think all the classes have to. And so things like that. Hopefully it'll make things interesting. We like forcing people to make choices rather than, I don't know. There's pros and cons. I think the tighter we clamp down on restrictions, it takes a little bit of the creativity away. And so, but this is still enough to force people to think outside the box a little bit. So exciting. Well, hey, good luck in top 4. We'll be rooting for you. Absolutely. So,
Thank you.
and hey, it's a huge compliment that you made it this far, because I think when we started, we had almost 80 people signed up. And so we are now going into what is week 7 next week, top 4. So big congrats.
Thank you. Henry definitely helped, because we were helping each other literally the whole way through. So
Awesome.
that's good. Shout out to
Shout
Henry.
out to Kenry.
Absolutely. And and if you're watching or listening, Kenry, we'd love to get you on the show sometime as well. So we'll reach out. Cool. Well, hey, we got some surprise last-minute news before the show, and it's pretty exciting, so I kind of want to transition over there. We've got a couple of short news stories that we'll cover first, and then get into the meat of the news here. So, Hydra, what do we got?
All right, well, first up, Blizzard announced that BattleNet will now be a new global BattleNet. So what this means is your friends lists from the other regions are now going to merge into one, which is really cool. The biggest advantage to all this, what's really neat, is you can now play cross-platform on other games. Hearthstone already does do its cross-platform thing between, your phones and your computer and whatnot. But if you're playing, they're starting with Overwatch. If you're playing Overwatch on your PlayStation, you can now play with your friends on your PC, which I think is super cool, because I literally bought that game first on my console and was bummed out I couldn't play with my friends on the PC, right? So I just think that's absolutely cool. I would imagine that they're going to move into doing the other games. It said that Overwatch is going to be the first one to do it. But if they're going to move in, because I was really thinking about, because they're releasing Diablo 2 Resurrected.
Right? Yeah, because they did Diablo 3 on all the consoles. So
yeah. Yeah, and Diablo 2 Resurrected supposed to be on a bunch of different platforms as well. So if they make that cross-platform, that sounds really cool to me. One thing that I really do enjoy about this update is the friends list in Hearthstone region, cross-region wise, has been a bit of a pain in the butt. Being able to, you'd have to, if you had your friend on, like say NA, but you didn't have them on Asia, it wasn't letting you add them, and then you'd have to delete them on NA and re-add them on Asia just so you guys could spectate each other or play together. And it was just being like a bit of a mess. So now that's been updated. If you go and log on your other regions, you can see your entire friends list, which was really, really cool. Do you guys have any thoughts on this?
So yeah, that probably means you can have 600 friends total, right? Surely.
I would hope, but that's the thing. They didn't announce it, and when we read that article, it was missing. And so that's what, we've all been asking for more than 200 friends for ages. The friends list has been notoriously buggy, and so for the last couple of months, like my friends list is said like 214, and I was like, there's no way that's correct, right? I know there's a cap. And so my thought was, hey, if you're going to merge 3 different regions together, then we should be able to have an extended friends list. But that little bit of information was then missing. So I don't know. 200 sounds like a lot until you start playing and interacting with people, and then you're doing tournament play and stuff, and you can't play with people unless you add them as a friend. And so... And then, like, we make a bunch of friends along the way, and so I think that, well, I don't know. I hope, I hope that they extend the friends list. Even if it was doubling it, would be great.
You would think that, because let's pretend you had 200 different friends on each server. Like, what are they going to do? Delete a bunch of them when they merged everything?
Yeah, right? I don't know. Yeah,
that's. See, when they merged, it put me up to 195. So I was just shy of seeing if this worked or not. So if anybody was a little bit higher than that when they merged.
On NA. Yeah, I'm on 240 apparently.
Oh, there you go.
So, and I don't know if I add someone, if it will let me. But yeah, because I had like around like 30 on EU, probably like 1 on Asia because I hardly played. And then maximum on NA. I had to keep deleting people to friend. So, yeah, so I'm on 240 right now. I don't know if that's correct, but probably.
Yeah. Maybe. I hope they do. Yeah. That'd be really cool. I mean, we'll have to ask and find out. That'd be really nice, though.
Well, I appreciate the friends list updates. So, no complaints there. There's always been some weird friends list issues, and I'm happy whenever they do something to it. So... Looking forward to that. Next up, we have the new dynamic bundles that are in the store this week. So these new dynamic bundles came out. What is a dynamic bundle? Well, basically it means that everybody gets sort of a different option in what to pick. All we know is that there's 3 different bundles, but we only get to choose 2 of the 3. And so if you log on and you check out, there's 3 options that you can have. There is Bob's Bargain, which is 40 wild packs, 2 legendaries, and it's $30 USD. The next one is the Tavern Special. That is 35 Barons packs, 2 legendaries. This is also for $30. And the final one is Bob's Bargain. That is 20 Year the Phoenix packs, and this is 2 Year the Phoenix legendaries, and this is for $20 USD. Did any of you guys grab this? What do you think about Maxie? Let's start with you. What are your thoughts on these bundles?
Well, the first thing that I'd assume, if there's 2 things called Bob's Bargain, I assume you always get Tavern Special and then one of the Bob's Bargain offered to you, right?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Because surely it wouldn't just give you 2 things that have the exact same name. But I rarely buy packs now because I kind of have the collection I need. The only stuff that I need to craft is for the Born to Be Wild tournament, right? If there's restrictions and I need to make a deck. But I have a lot of stuff that I can dust just fine. So I haven't. I rarely even go to the shop to like check because I save my gold for like when I actually need it. Because for right now, I have a decent collection. I've spent enough money. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems like the 2 legendary and 20 packs is decent value. I mean, it's $10 more for 20 more packs, I guess, on the first Bob's Bargain. But I'd probably, if I were to get one, get the 20 packs. Because it's usually enough cards to make whatever deck you're trying to make. If you're buying it.
That's funny. I didn't even notice that they were both called Bob's Bargain. Good pointing that out, Maxie. When I got to the second time, I'm like, didn't I read this one already?
Nice.
Nate, what about you? Did you grab any of these? Is this enticing?
Yeah, they know I'm a bit of a whale, and so I was offered the 2 bigger ones, and yeah, I ended up getting them. I didn't really need them, but I kind of wanted the dust. I was hoping for gold cards, gold legends. Didn't get any, but that's okay. To be honest, like as a, we really try hard to push the wild format and support wild community. So especially when I see wild packs or wild bundles, like I'll buy it no matter what, because I want to strum up interest, let people know that they're interested. I do think personally that if people have like a hole in their collection that they're looking to fill, that the wild packs are pretty good. I mean, 40 packs for $30 is a pretty good deal, really. And the 2 random legends. So yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty good. I'm curious to see what they do next, but this is neat. I don't know. I wish that they would sell some gold ones, although last time they sold the gold packs, they were so overpriced that it was like, I mean, it was kind of a waste. But anyways, yeah, so I got them. I didn't pull anything crazy, but kind of wanted to support the small indie company.
Yeah. I grabbed them as well. I was offered not the wild one, which is weird, but that's fine. Whatever.
Weird.
I was sorry, Maxie.
It's probably just random, right? So
It's gotta be. But it would be nice if it had some sort of algorithm or something that saw that you play wild, or
whatever
maybe.
your highest, maybe. That'd be good.
But I was offered the other 2, the 35 packs and the 20 packs, and I actually did really well. I as well got these for dust, and it paid off because you get the 2 legendaries, and I got 2 legendaries from each, so that's 4, and then I got another 4.
Whoa.
Oh,
So I got 8 legendaries total.
that's pretty good.
Out of it. So I cannot there was one pack that had 2 legendaries in it, just in one pack. So I'm not complaining. It was money well spent. It basically, the idea was, let's get some dust for, like, I like my gold cards, and when a new expansion comes out, I like to maybe make something in gold before it comes out, just so I don't open the regular version kind of thing. So that was the idea. I can't complain. I did do pretty good. So
hey, that's great.
Thank you, Blizzard, for cheap packs.
Quick question. For the wild packs, does that mean that you'll basically never just get extra commons because there's so many commons and rares? Because maybe that means it might actually be worth it because it'll fill up all the cards that you don't have with
It should have duplicate protection, so you should open cards that you don't have. I think that it gets a little bit weird, like if you had a card and then you dusted it, that it thinks that you
already own it.
Still own
right?
it. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I mean, if you've got holes in your collection, there's pros and cons because there's so many cards in Wild, and especially some of the older ones where just vanilla cards are very, very much pack filler. And so you might get stuff that's not good, or your chance of pulling a legend that you don't have is high, but then you're going to get a legend like the Skeleton Knight that you're never going to play, right? And so there's pros and cons, but if you're a collector and you're really trying to fill in the gaps, I think it's good for that purpose.
This was scary because it made me want to purchase. I was offered the Wild Bundle on Asia and EU, and it's like, ooh, that's perfect, right? But I'm not supposed to spend money on those accounts. Those are supposed to be free to play.
Yeah.
That's how they get you. But it's so good though, because like you're opening cards that you do not have over and over and over again if you're getting these wild packs. So I think it's pretty neat. I think that simplifies a lot of things. If you do, like, if you're just using your 100 gold to buy these wild packs in general, it sort of simplifies, like worrying about, did I hit my pity timer with this set or did I hit it on that set? I can't remember, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, you could just keep opening these.
Yeah, it's probably the best pick if you don't have like most of the cards, because it'll never really get you duplicates. Because for most sets, at least all the standard sets, I should have all duplicates for commons. So yeah, I'm probably just gonna spam wild packs because that also makes it easier to know if you're close to your pity timer.
Nice, yeah.
I like it. All right. Also, one cool thing that happened this week is a survey went out to some people, and I personally did not get this survey. Nate, you didn't get this either, did you?
No, but Sheep got it, and he sent it to me. I don't want him to end up in Blizzard jail, but I saw, they posted the whole survey. Somebody screenshotted it and put up on Out of Cards, and so it's there, if you guys are interested. But yeah, they went over the whole Mercenaries mode. There's a handful of screenshots, and they kind of dug into what the format was going to be like a little bit, and then they started talking about some like cross, like different company cross promotional type opportunities, which were interesting. I don't know. I mean, I'm just excited to. Anytime there's a new way to play, it's always kind of fun. So I guess we'll see. I didn't get the survey though.
I've never gotten one of these. Do you get one of those like disclaimer things, like at the beginning, you're not allowed to tell anybody what you saw?
I got one once, and I'm pretty sure there was something like that in there. But like, you have to know, anytime this happens, like they say that, hey, we're gonna show you this cool stuff that we're thinking about. Don't tell anybody. And the first thing that everybody does is screenshot it and then post it all over the internet. And so now, where I don't feel too bad is that they said that this mode was supposed to come out this year. We're already in June, so there's only 6 more months for this to come out. So like, there's not that much that they could really spoil. And if one person didn't, someone else is going to, and it's going to end up on Hearthstone or Out of Cards or Top Decks or one of those sites. And so, I feel like, well, cool, I got to see Sheep's, but his is not the one that's posted up all over the internet, and we're not sharing it here. But it's on Out of Cards if you want to read it. But it looks like fun, I mean, it looks like an interesting game mode, and I don't really know what to expect.
I guess once we get more actual details, not just from a survey, we could discuss it a little more in depth. But from what I did see, it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I enjoy, like, when I'm like tilted or something, or bored of Wild or Standard. I like going into solo adventures and just trying, because there's so many different things you can do. Like, I just randomly was like, let's try the Boomsday puzzles, and they're so much fun trying to solve the puzzles. And so now I've got them all done, and I still want to beat all the bosses in the Witchwood, because then you can verse Hagatha. So like, I have a lot of stuff in solo adventures that I can do if I'm bored. Like, there's a lot of solo adventure content. So
There really is.
Yeah, I totally recommend it. I used to do that a lot. If you beat them in heroic mode, typically you'll get a card back to unlock. And that's always fun for me, trying to, like, way back in the day, like, Heroic Naxxramas was so hard when the card pool was so small. It's a little bit different now that we have a larger card pool. But
Yeah, you could probably just play the best deck and probably do pretty good.
Yeah. I'll say for I'm happy that I did the Knights of the Frozen Throne one because Arthur's so sick, and you get a bunch of packs as well.
Yeah.
That's definitely worth it. I just looked up like a guide for the priest. So the Lich King, right, gives you like a disadvantage at the start of the game. He just says for priest, shut up, priest. You can't use emotes. That's the only thing he does for priest.
It's so funny though. It was so good.
So I just did Topsy Turvy Priest for that one. One of my favorites, and hit him with a 4,000 damage boar, and then I did a bunch of Murloc decks. Knights of the Frozen Throne is definitely worth it for solo adventures.
I love
Well,
it.
also you get your Death Knight from doing it, right?
Yeah, at the start for free, you get a Death Knight.
That's
so
right.
Sick.
I forgot about
I got
that.
blood and I dusted it.
Oh no!
I was a player, and I was playing it for a bit, and I'm like, oh, this card's not that good, and I just got rid of it. Like, why? I deeply regret it. I'm pretty sure I had to craft it. So
Oh.
yeah.
Oh well.
I'm happy about that. Yeah, but it's alright. I got the dust I need, but like, damn, it's like the best DK. There's only like 2-3 good DKs. The priest one, the druid one, and the warlock one.
And which
Yeah.
one did you get?
I got the warlock.
Oh, you got the warlock one. Oh, my
It's
God.
so good.
Sad.
Oh no!
I definitely would have dusted the priest DK because it isn't even flashy. I'm just like, what? 2 damage? Right in the trash. I dusted everything. It was really bad. I was very impulse, but
You
yeah,
live,
I
you learn.
learned my lesson. I hope.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Hey, you mentioned playing Topsy Turvy in the solo content, and I actually think that's a really smart choice because when you're playing on ladder, you have the timer going, so 90-second turns and the rope and all that. But when you're playing the solo content, there's no timer, and so you want to have like an APM deck. Like, there's no you can stop whenever you want. Like, so you're talking about your 4,000 damage board. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that against Innkeeper because I was doing like a video and like some tutorial on how to do it because I want to do some YouTube. Oh, my YouTube videos are so bad. I made my latest YouTube videos just I wanted to share something with my friend, and so I just made a YouTube video so I could share it with him, and I never took it down or privated it. So that's my latest YouTube video, is just me talking about some schoolwork. So yeah, very good.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, well, up next, we have something that has never, ever happened before.
Cool.
We all know that the meta's been a little different, so we got a tweet from Hearthstone that decided to address this, and their tweet states, "We will be banning Stealer of Souls in Wild in a small update next week. Stealer of Souls will still be playable in other formats, and will be eligible for a full dust refund for 2 weeks after this change goes live." So we have the first banned card in Wild history.
Wow. It's like a new precedent. That's crazy.
It really, really is. And that's a good point when you say a new precedent, because this opens things up now. I don't know if they're planning on, this is sort of a one-time thing, or they want to be able to do this going forward. I don't know what their plan is, but obviously they seen this as something that was just so, meta warping that they needed to do something, and it's gone. Like, it's literally, as soon as the patch goes live, it will be gone.
Right?
Yeah. This one's tricky because the card's really bad in Standard, whereas like something like Darklight was also a fine card in Standard, so it kind of warranted a nerf. Something like Hysteria kind of warranted a nerf anyway, so it was like easy, you just nerf it. But it's kind of a cool card for Standard, and Standard players want it. And you don't want to nerf the Wild cards, like nerfing Violet Illusionist, really. Nerfing Mal'Ganis, that hurts other decks that are cool. So it was tough, definitely. So banning is kind of the easy way out, but it might also be correct. And there's been a lot of new stuff going on in Hearthstone. Like in the past 6 months, there's or like last year or whatever, new class, new legacy core set, new mode. All this crazy stuff has been happening recently, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of not too surprised that they're also starting a ban list.
Yeah.
Let me.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, let me give you my hot take on this, and from a project management perspective. Okay, this is a lot of what I do at work, and so here's my take on this. The reason that I think that they did the ban instead of a nerf is because the deck has become meta warping in a very short time. Right, the mini set has been out for 1 week, just over a week, and this deck has kind of caught fire. It has warped the meta. Of course, when you look at the win rates, it's not that good, maybe, but it feels super bad to lose to. When they look down that list of cards or cards to nerf, like, it checks all of the boxes, right? And then we've seen a couple of creative suggestions in terms of nerfs. I think I really liked Martian Booze, which was, hey, just make it so that if you're immune, you can't spend health. Like, you can only spend health if you're not immune. Now, which I think is a great idea. So, like, hey, then the card still works. You just can't use its ability if you have Violet Illusionist or Mal'Ganis in play. But here's my thought. From a project management point of view, implementing a change like that takes a lot of time from a programming point of view. And they need to address it sooner than later. And so I think if they were to say, okay, programmers behind the scenes, go program this, and the programmers are like, okay, it's going to take us a month, and the thought is like, oh, no, we don't have time to do that. Well, do you want it to say, give all your charge minions +1, No. So I think that's the quick solution is, all right, let's just ban it for now. That's a super easy thing. Hey, you just can't play it. And then someone had asked Alec Dawson, like, well, what happens when it rotates to wild? And he said, the current plan is to adjust the card at that time and remove the ban. And so I kind of like that. That buys them a lot of time to figure out how they want to fix it. And then they can adjust it later. What I think is funny about this whole thing is that all the Dark Glare Warlock players are, in the back laughing, right? Like, it's still the best deck in the format, probably. Now, I don't feel that bad about Dark Glare because it's a really difficult deck to master. I mean, you take somebody who's a pro at it, Maxi, or Goldaniel or Glare, or somebody who's really good at that deck, they make it look easy, but as when you're trying to learn it, it's a difficult deck to master. I understand it's probably more problematic in the higher legend ranks, but I don't know. I mean, that's kind of my take on. I don't feel bad about a ban. It's kind of weird. Like, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting something different, but I'm not that opposed to it. What I would be opposed to is if they just start banning cards left and right.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Like, what you said is probably very correct. Is like time constraints and stuff, and everyone's complaining, and kind of need to happen now. Like with Tiller, it got really bad. So many people were like leaving and giving bad reviews and all that. So yeah, you're probably correct. And yeah, I assume they won't just start banning a lot of cards because, like I was saying before, it was a really tough spot. There wasn't too many obvious ways around it that, also were things that they've done to cards before, so it's like easier to program because, they've done it before or something like that. So I think this is like a one-time thing where it was just kind of like the only option, and so it was like kind of unfortunate for Blizzard. So but if they do stop banning, that would be really bad.
Yeah, like I've seen a lot of comments saying it's a cop out, like it's the easy way out. Oh, just ban it. Why don't you guys do your jobs properly, sort of thing. And to people that are saying that, I want to bring out the point that a lot of the time the wild community feels like we're not paid attention to, that we're ignored. And hey, guess what? Like, they did something, right? Like, they actually did do something, and they did it very, very quickly, really. Like, we're going to have this for a little bit and it's going to be gone. And maybe it's not the best fix, but they acted really quickly. So, like, they are at least paying attention a little, right?
I sort of, yeah. I feel like, do you want like the perfect fix or do you want the quick fix? And you have to choose one. And, you know, I think that the quick fix is probably preferable, but to do that without destroying the card, you know, banning seems like a pretty good temporary solution to me. Now, banning until rotation feels a little extreme, but like it solves the immediate problem. I'm not opposed to it. I don't know. My only opposition would be if they start doing bans on a regular basis. Although, you know, maybe that is better than destroying a card. I was a little bit sad, like, when Tiller was a big problem, rather than nerfing the card that made you unable to, or made your minion unable to take damage, like, they nerfed Hysteria, which was a little bit sad because I thought the card was really creative and really cool, and I don't like it as much anymore. And I felt like the immune card was more of the problem. And so, you know, I mean, it's interesting. They're really in a tough spot because the community likes to complain. I mean, they do. It's just
What?
that's
They
just
do? No way.
But I feel like we're in a good spot with like Ixar playing a ton of Wild lately, and I really do have to give them credit. I really think that they're trying hard and that they're watching closely, and that you know, this is something at least. And so people will complain, of course, but it's definitely a quick fix to the problem, and I would be really curious to see what happens when it makes its way back to Wild later.
An interesting thing that I was thinking about is when they said that it's basically it's banned all the way until rotation. They didn't say it's banned until we figured it out, like what the nerf's going to be. They said till rotation. So I think that's a way of them saying, going forward, if we're ever going to be banning cards, this is how it's going to work. Like, it is out until rotation, because let's say they said it's banned for like the next 2 weeks till we figure it out, something like that, then they've now set a precedent that, oh, it's only gone for 2 weeks. So they've given us this time frame of it's gone all the way until rotation. So from now on, if we ever see a ban, I would assume that they're probably going to stick to that standard.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know.
I will say, I think it's probably better, like maybe not ban till rotation, but like something like 2 weeks or something short. The thing is, if you ban it for a decently short amount of time, but long enough for people to kind of forget about it, when it comes back, it's going to be like how it was the first day, right? Where it's like new-ish thing because it was gone for a little bit, and everyone's going to start playing it again. So it's probably correct to ban it for like at least like a little bit amount of time. But rotation is like a whole year, so
Yeah.
I think it should have just been like, and yeah, I think you're correct. They're probably going to, every time they're going to ban something, it's going to be until rotation. But
Well,
I think
that way you don't have people asking constantly, oh, when's it coming back? When's it coming back? Like, you've banned it. Like, when are we going to see it again? When are we going to see it again? Well, we know. It's at rotation.
Yeah, well, and that buys them plenty of time to come up with a creative solution, and I'd rather have a creative solution than a quick one that is probably not as good. So, you know, it is what it is. I think I'm happy that they responded, though. I don't think that this is something that could have gone on for like long term. So
I'm happy that deck is. I hate it.
Right.
Yeah, it's
So
not the funnest to play against, but I have fun watching people do it. I mean, like, at least for the first while, it's like, okay, good for you. You're doing the thing. I'll let you do it. It's fine. And then it happens 10 times, like, in a couple hours, and you're like, okay.
It's like, I drop a giant on like turn 4, they go Dark Skies, raised it, drop another giant, right? So it's like pretty good start. and then they just go, Stealer of Souls, coin plot twist, and I'm dead. So they clear the board into OTK. Like, what am I meant to do? I don't even have enough mana to Lothar. I can't do anything. It's so dog. It's really annoying to verse. Because it's like, if they get the good cards, it's more them playing. But it's like more that than any other deck. There's literally nothing you can do. Whereas with like some Druid or like say you're against Darkler, you can kind of play around it. If you're against Raza Priest, you can play around Anduin. You can, play your lower attack minions. You can play around, if they play Polka, sure, it's a god start, but you can play around it. You can try and shuffle stuff into their deck. You can try and, you know exactly what they have in their hand. There is interaction. There's stuff you can do to try and dodge the god start. If they get RFG on one, you can assume that it's not any other secret. Don't play around Explosive Runes. Stuff like that. It's good starts, and you can play around it. Play around the alignment by saving your giants and then Lothar quadruple giant. But anyway, but this, you can't do anything. There's no deck that can actually do anything. So I think it's good to get rid of it because it's really, it's just really boring. And it's annoying. It's getting to like Yu-Gi-Oh levels where you just win on
that's
turn.
funny.
I don't want why.
It forced Secret Mage to start running Potion of Polymorph, which is like,
Yeah.
what now?
Explosive Runes, Potion of Polymorph, just anything.
Yeah, counterspell.
Counter spells, yeah.
They're gonna Dirty Rat and Polymorph Boar or something, so they can rat out the 2/6. It's good that it's gone for sure, in my opinion.
Well, I think everyone was in agreement that, it's a pretty powerful deck when it goes off. So,
Yeah.
if you guys love it, if you want to play this deck, I would start playing it as much as you can right now.
No, don't give it a play it.
You've got, I played it a ton on day one, just to kind of see what it was about. I did the same thing with Tiller, and I saw it. Part of learning how to play it is you learn how to play against it, and so that was good. And I got it out of my system in one day. And
yeah, me too. I played the Mechathune version, which may not be the best version, but I played it a bunch, and yeah, it was fun. Got to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
For both Tiller Warlock and Stealer Warlock, I played the Darkler version because I'm like, you go Darkler on 2, you coin Stealer of Souls, then you go Backfire into like Flesh Giant, Molten Giant, Lothar. Seems good. And so I'm like, okay. But for Tiller it actually worked because you only put like 4 cards in your deck that actually kind of screw you, and Stealer of Souls still hurts you, so it's kind of annoying. But with Tiller, turn 7, you just win. You just drop a couple giants, do the Tiller combo, and it's insane. And there were worse decks at the time. Like Tiller Warlock normal was worse than this new Stealer Warlock. But the matchups were all much better. Whereas now the decks are a lot faster. The Stealer and Darkler kind of hurts you. There are many more aggro decks that have more burst. So it's in a way worse situation than when it was Tiller Darkler. I went like 6-0 in top 10 with Tiller Darkler. It was so good. Like everyone was just destroyed. But I had a negative win rate, unfortunately, with the Stealer Darkler. I thought it was genius. But apparently I was wrong. So.
Oh, well, you don't know until you try.
Yep. Yeah. Well, there we go. The very first ban in Wild Hearthstone history. Maybe setting a precedence. Maybe not. Who knows? Maybe it'll go down in history as the only one.
Hey.
Never know. It's probably a good time to transition over into our meta discussion. So, Nate, I see we have a meta report out.
Yeah, so our friends at Tempo Storm have released a new meta snapshot this week, just a couple of days ago on June the 9th. And it's always exciting to see what they choose and what happens. Of course, that the hot news topic in the meta report was the Stealer Warlock. And so they've got in tier 1. The only thing I wrote down here is tier 1. So they've got Dark Lair, Secret Mage, Reno Priest, and Odd Paladin, which seem fine to me. I thought it was interesting that they had Stealer Warlock listed as mid tier 2, which makes sense because it loses to a handful of stuff. I think the deck was really polarizing and felt really bad to lose to, but I feel like it loses to itself, you know, or
Yeah, like when people at first started playing it, like no one used firewall or cheats or anything, so they just basically just killed themselves. They played the Mal'Ganis and then just immediately ran out of time. But people have started adapting and making it like just a better into. So they started using cheats, obviously firewall, and they've also made the lists much like less time consuming. So yeah, it's definitely losing to itself a lot less. I am a bit confused, or a bit surprised about Odd Paladin in Tier 1, which I always am. I'm always surprised by how high Odd Paladin is. But whenever I play it, it is really powerful just into the good decks, right? The meta decks. It's good into Secret Mage because it's very unlikely that they draw the Flak Mage usually. They don't really have drawbacks at RFG, but most of the time you can not let them pop the RFG. And so by the time they have Flak Mage, you've probably buffed your stuff up, given it Divine Shield, whatever. Raza Priest makes sense. People don't play it because people are bored of it, but it beats a lot of stuff. It's not even bad as a build.
Yeah.
Dark Deck, obviously the best deck will always be the best deck. And yeah, Secret Mage, because so it all makes sense when you kind of think about it. The Raza Priest and the Odd Paladin. Even though at first glance it's a bit like a bit confusing. Because the Dark Lord and the Secret Mage is the one you'd first think about, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Reno Priest, I can imagine it's still completely fine. I just haven't gone up against a lot of Reno Priests or Raza Priests. Like, they seem to have just disappeared.
And they assume that it loses to Tilla Warlock, but it doesn't because Tilla Warlock... Well, I mean, I can't say from experience, but from what I've seen from other people, it's just that if you have a clear, or like you have a Wave of Apathy into their Loatheb turn, right? Remember, Wave of Apathy is a card Raza Priest runs into clear. Or if you have a Reno, Zephyrus for a Nova into DK. There's a lot of, like, Raza, or like any priest just has a lot of flexible removal, so you can deal with most things. Mechadon, Rat, Elucia, they're cards, right? They exist. So yeah, like I was trying a control priest, and I went Minor into Elucia into Solarium, and then I played their Cataclysm, and that was great. So like stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's ways to scam Steel for sure.
I was telling Blutrane and Ben over the past week, I feel like Raza Priest, it has so many answers for days. I mean, it's slow, but one of the things that I love about it is that you really change your game plan every game depending on what you're facing. And so, you know, my game plan against aggro is one thing, against a deck like Odd Warrior is completely different versus the Stealer Warlock. I mean, it's got a totally different game plan depending on what you're facing. And so it's really fun. It's really versatile. And like you have all this different utility, and it's like a puzzle. You know, it's not as solitaire as some of these OTK decks, but like each turn there's a lot of choices to be made, and really it forces you to kind of think on your feet and pivot quite a bit, and I really enjoy it. I mean, I don't think it's like an auto win into anything. It's skill testing, I think.
I will say something is it's often quite annoying to play against Raza Priest, because any arena deck, because it's like, okay, so let's say I'm playing Darkler, right? Darkler especially, it's quite, like, it's annoying to versus Raza Priest, because it's like, okay, so I have to play around Hysteria, I have to play around Shadow Word Death, I have to play around Wave of Apathy, I have to play around Zephyrus, I have to play around Shadow Word, like, or Shadow Reaper Anduin, so you can't play around 30 different unique, powerful cards. Or with something like Aether Mage or Mozaki Mage, you can't just play around the Elusia. If they have it, you die, right? You can not play your Biscuits to make it a little harder. But it is quite annoying when they have these cards, like maybe like a pile of specific cards that deal with, or like one specific card that deals with every situation, and it's like a lot of the time you have to hope they don't have this one card, and it's unfortunate when they do have it, and it's like, what are you gonna do? You can't play around 30 cards, so it is a little annoying, but it's definitely fun to play Raza Priest and be like, should I dig to try and find the card that clears the board, or should I just do my semi-clear or something and assume I won't draw it? Stuff like that is, it's definitely it's definitely fun and hard to play, but to play against can be very frustrating for sure. Dark Glare player. Like Hysteria on 4, into Zephyrus, into Shadow Word Death, into Raised Dead, like every time. Zephyrus into Wild Growth, into Rah Rah Rah. They always have Wapathy. Why? But, yeah.
That's
great.
Man. That's pretty funny.
Out there, all the Raza priests are just laughing. All the Raza priest players, they love it.
Right? Yeah. You know, it still loses to things like Dark Glare. When I play, I'm a filthy Raza priest player, and every time I play against Dark Glare, it's like board full. You know, you make them have it, right? They play a board full of giants, and you're like praying, don't have Lotheb, and they always have Lotheb, and it's like, oh, I could just win if it weren't for that card. But I mean, those are the experiences that you remember. But I think both are very good and both are very skill testing. So
yeah.
I'm not surprised to see this tier list here.
I will say I enjoyed versing Raza Priest like a lot more when it was before. So it was when Raza Priest and Dark Glare were like the two by far tier 1 decks. I can't remember if it was Skull Lance or Dark Moon. So because maybe Secret Mage was also thrown in there. But like Quest Mage was played, and it was a lot of fun to verse it because you didn't have Tamsin and Zeph. So your game plan wasn't as simple as draw the whole deck, kill them. It was like you really had to. It was very skill testing because if you waste a giant and they kill it, like it could be the difference between a win and a loss. And it was so like your win con was so much Lotheb that you literally keep it in your hand even if you're going first. It was crazy. So you don't have to play around Hysteria. You have to keep every giant. You can literally Flesh Giant on 2. If you have Lotheb in your hand, you don't. You just save it. And it was such a skill testing matchup. And for players that don't play Glare, they'd be like watching someone who does. It'd be like, what are you doing? You can play like 4 giants on turn 5, and you're just not. But yeah, you really need to do it with Lotheb because that's your only win con against Raza Priest. And you have to hope they don't have Wapathy, I guess. But hoping that they don't have one card isn't like. That's a bit annoying, but overall, it was definitely a lot of fun doing that matchup. And whenever I queued into a Raza Priest, I was like, oh, they're gonna have Wapathy again. Whenever I was mad, but it's definitely something that is hard to play, and I'll always remember to play around these specific cards just from like PTSD of just. Oh, he had Hysteria last time and you got destroyed. Because I've played Raza Priest so much, and so I just have 8 cards always in my mind when I'm playing Dark Glare. Yep.
I know how you feel. Well, you always remember the bad times, right? You remember what they have, and that's the one thing that it is really difficult because you have to decide whether you're gonna. That's what I like to do. I like to make them have it, but then you always kick yourself, right? When you go all in and then they end up having it. But when it's your win condition, like, I mean, you got to go for it.
Yep.
Make them have it. It's always good to do it earlier because then it's less likely that they actually have it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I always get really mad at myself when I save my combo because I'm like, all right, I'll play around this. And I end up getting punished because they draw it later on. And if I just went for it, I would have been fine. But since I waited, thinking like, oh, maybe I'll top deck Lotheb, they ended up top decking Hysteria, and then I died.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, playing around specific cards and knowing when you have to not play around it is challenging. But it's also pretty frustrating when you don't have a choice and then they do have it. So I do think the matchup's gotten a little more luck-based when Hysteria came out and when Tams and Zeph came out. But yeah, and it's also gotten more favoured for Glare, for sure. Like, it used to be around 50-50, but now it's like 55-45 for Glare because they have Tams. If you're a Zeph Glare. If you don't have Zeph, it's still favoured because you run Arcane Golem. But anyway, enough about Glare. Glare.
Nice. Well, hey, yeah, we are now like 1 week into the mini set, and so I was curious to get everybody's thoughts on the Wailing Caverns mini set and how you thought, are we seeing any new cards being played? Are we seeing any new archetypes or new combos or anything like that? So yeah, Maxie, let me start with you. Have you had a chance to play with any of the new cards, whether it's standard or wild? And do you see any new archetypes emerging, or what are your initial thoughts?
Well, I mean, compared to the last mini set, there's definitely way less good stuff. But there were a few things that I thought would be cool. So like Seed Cloud Buckler in Odd Paladin was cool. So you get 6 damage for 3 mana, and you give all your lads Divine Shield by turn 5. So you can kind of do it with Quartermaster, where you make them 3/3s, and they have Divine Shield, and it's like insane trades.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not that good because 3 durability takes a while. I also thought maybe you go Seed Cloud Buckler, get 2 swings in, and then Hero Power and Muster for Battle, or something like that. Because that breaks the weapon and triggers it after you summon the 1/1.
Yeah.
But so that wasn't quite good enough because they have this new package of Conviction and the new 1/1. So the list is really tight, which is unfortunate. But I did like that card. I've also been trying. I think I got like 6 with a Rally Paladin, or not Rally, sorry, Tax Paladin or Call to Arms Paladin that ran 1 Galloping Savior, 1 Redemption, and 1 Judgment of Justice. So no one really knew what the secret was, and it was so satisfying when they just, like, attacked my 1/1 Divine Shield with a Cloud Prince, and then, boom, it becomes a 1/1 and just dies, and then they just concede. Because, like, that's lethal. Because nobody expects it, because nobody even runs that. But I ended up cutting it, because Judgment of Justice is really just a worse redemption. And if you think about a card like Auto Defense Matrix, when a minion gets attacked, give it Divine Shield, this is a slightly better version of that, but that card was never close to seeing play. So if you compare it to something like that, it's really not very strong. I was playing a lot of Control Priest and Inner Fire Priest. So Control Priest, yeah, so the thing I was talking about, Corbett made, I like Against All Odds, because you can use it with Wave of Apathy, and also it's like 5 mana, clear some good stuff. The only problem is it won't get rid of Giants, but like against Odd Paladin, it's really good. Gets rid of the 1/1s or the 3/3s. Against Stealer Warlock, it's good because it gets rid of Colossus and Mal'Ganis. It won't get rid of the Stealer or the 4/3 that gives you immune, but it gets rid of the big stuff, and that's good. It gets rid of the Lothar. I also played some Inner Fire Priest with the new Cleric of Archie and Devout Dungeoneer. So you get some minions that maybe can just get you a card that buffs them so they stick. Because the problem with Inner Fire Priest, if your minion doesn't stick, you only have like 10 minions in the deck. You play one, it doesn't stick, you're so screwed. So it's kind of like sometimes you just only draw spells, and you're like, if I got 1 minion, it would be like a 60-60, but no. So it's good to have like a couple new minions that you can run in that. I also like Shroud of Concealment for Rogue. Now you have Swindle and Shroud of Concealment, and I theory crafted a really dumb, like, you run 3 minions, like double Efficient Octobot and Edwin, and then you just have a bunch of spells, and you play like 10 cards on like turn 3 in Edwin, because you have a bunch of stuff that draws minions, so you can consistently get Edwin. But it's so bad, because you go like Edwin and Conceal, and then they just go like Zephyr's Deadly Shot. But whatever, that was You could do Malagos Rogue, or any combo rogue now has a lot of targeted draw, which is always really powerful. I don't think Savory Deviate Delight, I mean, in Rogue, like, why are you putting it in Rogue? Put that thing in Warlock, and yeah, sure, they get like, then Scam Warlock would be funny. You'd have double Noferatu, Ticketus, double Delight, and Demonic Project, and you'd have just so much stuff to beat any combo deck. But no, Rogue, of course, the deck that is really aggro. So they'll never use that, I think. Shaman got really powerful cards. The Dungeoneer and the Wailing Vapor. Dealer of Souls, obviously. I like Crash for Warrior. I think it'll actually see play. And all the neutral cards, pretty bad. Pretty underwhelming. So, yeah, that's my take on the mini set.
Nice.
Hey, if your rogue there turns out to be pretty good, let me know, because I want an excuse to play my Golden Edwin that's just sitting there doing absolutely nothing.
There's no way it'll be good. You play, like, usually like turn 5, you get Edwin, and I run, like, double Sinister Strike, double Cold Blood, double Eviscerate, so you want to conceal it and then just kill them the next turn. But you have to get so lucky, and then they'll still do something. Wave of Apathy into Shadow or Death, something. They always have it. So it's a work in progress. Let's say. But I want it to.
That's great.
Maybe we'll have like a card one day that just like 0 mana duplicate your Edwin twice, and you can have like 3 12/12s. I mean, it's wild, right?
Well, I mean, charge to Rogue. That would be fun.
Give your Edwin charge. Yeah. There we go. That's a good idea.
That's great. Hydra, have you had a chance to play with the new cards yet?
I'm really excited that they're actually doing something about Stealer of Souls, so we can maybe see more of the new cards.
Right.
Because I feel like it's dominated the meta so much, but one card that I feel that I definitely underrated, and I don't even remember what score I gave it, but it's Serpent Bloom.
Oh,
yeah, the 0 mana, give one of your beasts poisonous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is actually just so legit that like throw it in any hunter deck. Like it is like I've been playing an aggro hunter, and when you got all these small minions like Springpaw that have rush, or you've got your Desert Spear that creates something that has rush, it's just a 0 mana kill something. Like it is way more powerful than I gave it credit, like completely.
It's like targeted Plague of Flames for 1 minion, but for 0. Like that's pretty good. It's like a 0 mana Hunter's Mark is probably the best way to think about it.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Have that many cards to have a card that powerful, just 0 mana, 0 mana, just kill one of your 1/1s and kill Ysera or something like that's insane.
And then there's like the whole like god play of playing it with Dreadscale, and just clearing everything, but like doesn't happen very often. But I just want to say that card, whatever I did give it, I probably should have given it like at least a point or 2 higher,
right?
Like, for sure. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to see if more of this set is playable. I know, Nate, you ended up crafting something in gold recently, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? I will say I think it's all I like it when someone proves us wrong, you know? I mean, someone had commented on the YouTube video last week and was saying that, like, hey, you guys were, I like all your hot takes except Primal Dungeoneer. You guys were way wrong on that one. That card's really good. I was like, you know what? I like being wrong. That's great. Like, anytime there's a card that does better than we thought it was going to, like, cool. That's a new card that we get to play. So that makes me excited, and I don't mind being wrong. I mean, it's so difficult to look at these cards in a vacuum and then try to guess, like, is it actually going to be good? Like, probably not. And then it turns out to be good. Like, that's okay. I'm happy with that. I think that's all right.
I just like X that every card can go in.
Yeah.
Like Shaman is so sick. You can use it with Reno Shaman. You can use it with Aggro Shaman as draw. Just draw for Shaman with the body, or just draw in general with the body is really powerful.
Yeah. Well, and that's what Shaman needed, some draw. I mean, they're
and it's really targeted spells and elementals. Like that's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It does have the constraint of nature spells.
Yeah, but still. But yeah, for me, so I had hit Legend early last week, and so Legend and Wild, and so I switched over to playing some Standard and still trying to grind out Demon Hunter wins. I'm now a little bit over 400. I've been playing a lot of Death Rattle Demon Hunter, and so where I really wanted to try out the new cards was in that deck, and so I've been playing a lot of Fell Rattler, which is basically like Swipe on a stick because it has Rush. So it does 3 damage and then 1 to everything, so it can take out a 4 health minion. The damage doesn't go phase, and so there's that. But in general, I like the card. It seems strong. I've been enjoying the Devouring Ectoplasm. I don't know, for a while there, like I was getting the Wind Fury minion like every single time, and I was like, this card is just bugged. I don't know. And I'm getting other ones now, but it's better than I thought it was going to be. I like it. And then I've been testing out Archdruid Neralex, which it's a little bit slow, but the cards that it gives you have won me games. I mean, the 5-mana AoE, the buff, or you play it on 3 and then you drop a 7/6 dragon on 4 is pretty fun. I don't know if it's good, but it's definitely fun. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Sorry, Maxie, go for it. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I think it is probably underrated. You can do it in something like Odd Warrior or any odd deck. Like, I don't know. I want to try it in something like Odd Paladin, so you get something sticky. I mean, it's really slow, but like I don't know. It'd be cool to just get like a dream that saves you. It's like you get a sap boss. The only thing is it's very you can't know what you're getting.
So I think the reason that it works in the Death Rattle Demon Hunter, like it's definitely a tempo loss, right? It's a 3-mana do nothing for 2 turns, and it generates some random cards. But I think where it's worked out pretty well in the Death Rattle Demon Hunter is that a lot of times you've got minions in hand, your minions on board die, and they drop the minions from hand, and so you can play this, and that you make up for the tempo loss by triggering the death rattles of your other minions.
That makes sense.
And so it's not a total loss where like I don't know.
Yeah, so you play those 3-mana death rattles, right? Because you want to pull them off the razor bore, and then you want that to pull whatever you pull off the razor bore. You want that to pull another one. So you'd kind of rather just play a 3-mana do nothing because you're not paying for those death rattles anyway.
Yeah.
So because those 3 drops you want a 3-drop that isn't death rattle, so you don't feel like you're wasting your mana by playing it.
Mm-hmm.
No, that totally makes sense. Makes you feel way better about playing the card when the other ones are free, right?
My only other thoughts on the mini set were that it sounds like I was wrong about Primal Dungeoneer. For those people who are listening, may not be familiar with the card. This is the Shaman card that draws you a spell, and if it's a nature spell, then it also draws you an elemental. It seems like a lot of people are having success playing it in decks. I saw Slizzle earlier playing an aggro elemental shaman. It looks like it was No Way's list. And a couple other people, I think Otters was playing a similar list, and I'm excited to try that type of thing out. Happy to be proven wrong, and I think I'm sitting right around 30 wins away from 1K Shaman right now, and so trying some new stuff, and it looks like that Elemental Shaman is maybe actually a thing now in Standard, and so I might bounce back and forth and just play both, because I'm like noob ranks in Standard, and it's like I don't want to say easy wins, but it's definitely easier when you're up in like gold than it is in Legend. So I don't know. I'm enjoying myself though. It's kind of fun. Anyways, I we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think that the meta might shift a little bit, or that we might start seeing more of these cards with the Stealer of Souls Warlock going away. That maybe there will be some more room for experimentation. I have not tried Anaconda yet. I just haven't got around to it, but hopefully soon. Crush did seem pretty good. Surprisingly, it's slow, but powerful.
Because it's slow, but against aggro, you get that armor, and that's really good.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that screenshot that Ben Hearthstone had of Kresh frozen like at the top of his screen?
I saw that.
Looking like right at you.
Not edited picture. I was like, what the hell?
It was amazing.
So I was gonna say the only thing is with Stealer leaving, the main things that got buffed by the mini set. I think this is kind of unfortunate. Was that they were pretty good against Stealer, from what I know. So mainly the Shaman and the Hunter, right? Which are quite aggressive, so they have charge and stuff. Well, no, the Hunter has charge. The Shaman also has burst from hand. So I think those were fine against Stealer. So Stealer going away, I don't think changes their win rate a whole lot. But the slower stuff like Reno Warrior, I think, will be a lot of fun to try. I want to try some Reno Warrior with Archdruid, Naralax, and Mutinous and stuff like that. It's probably pretty good.
Sounds
and the
fun.
Zoth as well. Yeah, that's actually... Whoa, how could you make a really good Reno Warrior? I bet it's possible. Now I want to try it.
Nice. Hey, I'd love to see what you come up with. That'll be a lot of fun.
I need to craft a 9-mana as well. I still haven't done that.
It's really fun. I don't think it was as good at first, and I think it's been getting a little bit better.
Yeah, a lot of new stuff for it.
I love it in the Death Rattle Demon Hunter. I think it's surprisingly strong. I know it's kind of slow. I've seen people start cutting it lately, but it's so fun. So yeah, I enjoy it. The buff to 9 is what it needed to be played. So yeah, it's been exciting. Well, let's switch over a little bit and talk about what we've been playing. And so Hydra, let me ask you. You had mentioned you were playing a hunter deck earlier. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I was hunting around on Twitter a little bit for something different to play, and I saw Otters had posted a list that he got rank 73 legend with the other day, and he credited Corbett Games with the list. And so this is just a straight up aggro beast hunter that everything is under 3 mana till you get to the very, very top, where you have 1 Ringland's Rifle, 2 Tundra Rhinos, and 2 Corridor Creepers. And so basically you can flood the board really quickly with your beasts, and you've got the Serpent Blooms that you can get through those big taunts, and it just, like, it can be really fast. You can also play it a little differently, where it almost feels like Embiggen Druid a little bit, where if you kind of start off with not the best hand and you ended up with a Master's Call, you can draw some beasts, and then you can play, because that's going to do is it's going to corrupt your Don't Feed the Animals. And you can, so say turn 3, you can Master's Call, draw 3 beasts, and then Don't Feed the Animals twice on turn 4. Now you have really, really, really big guys in your hand. So like your Snow Flipper Penguin only costs 1, right? And so that comes out as a 5/5. And then so you've got your Spring Paws, your Alley Cats, your Timberwolves, your Wolpertingers. Those are all 1 cost beasts. And so you can just, like, I've had people concede at that point where you just have these big boys coming out for such cheap mana. And then, of course, like we said before, you have the god draw board clear of the Dreadscale plus the Serpent Bloom, which doesn't happen very often. And I don't recommend necessarily saving the cards just to be able to do it. But when it does happen, it's pretty funny.
That's cool. Well, and there's some, like...
You just stick a Dreadscale and hit him for 4 every time.
Yeah. I mean, there's potential OTK combo here, depending on how you did it. Like, I'm looking at the Scavenging Hyena and the Tundra Rhino. So, like, I just run all my little 1/1s into their thing, make a gigantic hyena, and then go face with it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and the Tundra Rhino's gives everything charge, right? So...
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. Corridor Creepers.
Shreepy Daddy?
What's that, Maxie?
Imagine Buzzard and Rush Warrior.
Yeah, Buzzard is awesome. Sometimes, like, you just run it out when you can get any sort of draw off of it. Like, it's so cheap now and efficient, right? So you can run it out. You can Wolpertinger. You can use it with Spring Paw or Alley Cat, and even just get 1 or 2 cards off of it. Like, it's still a good deal. Your Desert Spear is awesome with the Serpent Bloom, because it just helps you bust through whatever you need to. It's really fun. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm going to play with it a lot more this coming weekend, and just keep jamming it, because I like Hunter, and they're fast. You can get under the Nemesis that's in the meta right now.
Nice.
And just give her. So
very cool.
So Infinite Aggressor, so the deck's more expensive than Secret Mage, but I would say the epics and legendary. So you need don't feed the animals, but you don't really need Dreadscale. You don't really need Rinling's Rifle.
No.
You don't really need Corridor Creeper. So those stuff you can kind of cut for like. I don't think he. Oh no, he does. Well, I don't know. You could cut it for like Scavenger's Ingenuity. I don't think he runs. Just there's some like other fine beasts. I'm sure there are like Diamol or something like that. You don't really need the expensive cards, but you kind of need Sage, and you kind of need like a Ridge Fair game and stuff. So it can be cheaper to be honest than Secret Mage.
Yeah, you could definitely build a really good budget version of this and do well for sure.
I think if you a good budget option for this would be Kill Command also, like 3 mana spell that's basic. You got a bazillion beasts, so it's always going to do 5 damage.
Yeah.
So
that alongside a 0 mana Snow Flipper Penguin.
Yeah, I kind of like that inclusion if you're on a budget. That seems good to me. So no, that seems strong. Especially sorry, Maxie, go for it.
Cause I know so Disguised Toast used to play. I remember he did like a free to play, and he made a Beast Hunter with like Alley Cat and that 6 mana 6/5 that summons 2. What is it? I can't remember what it's called. That summons 2 2/2s and Kill Command, and it was just a really really cheap Beast Hunter that could curve out with Diamol into Crackling Razormaw and just stats and a Scavenging Hyena that sticks. And so it's definitely possible. And like, sure, there are a few more rares or whatever. Or not even. Does this deck have any rares? I don't think this deck has a single rare. But there's a couple more expensive cards that you need to run, like Don't Feed the Animals. But it's still pretty easy.
One thing that's kind of funny is quite often your hyena has been hit by Don't Feed the Animals, so it's not as easy to kill as you would think when it first comes out because it's already buffed.
Yeah.
And so it's way more sticky, which is pretty awesome. And you have all of the rush options, which you just grow it and you grow it and.
Yeah, you can throw it out with like a Razormaw, give it stealth, give it divine shield. Stuff like that. Razormaw is like really good at helping get your minions to stick. Like you have a lot of minions that have a really strong effect. Buzzard, Timberwolf, the Hyena, stuff like that you really want to stick. Of course, Dreadscale is the strongest card. You need that to stick. And you can use the Razormaw to help out. I think Razormaw's really underrated. Like Adapt it's so good. It can give you Wind Fury as well on your Hyena.
Fun fact, Crackling Razormaw is my son's all-time favorite card in all of Hearthstone.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
It was his favorite. He used to, what you were talking about earlier, Maxie, he played a similar deck to what Disguised Toast was playing. He ran Alley Cats and Dire Moles and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Good times.
Maybe I'll make this deck for him. And he was talking about playing again recently. That'd be really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tried to like log into my brother's account, or like he tried to as well, so we could do, because he played DMH Warrior, and we had no idea what we were doing. It was because it's like the hardest deck. And this was a while ago when we both really sucked, and we literally crafted the 2 mana 2/4 that tries to draw your opponent an extra card, because we're like, oh, this deck's mill your opponent with Cold Light Oracle. So he crafted like the Dark Fisher or something.
Yeah, it's the Nat Peggle, but the other one.
Nat the Dark Fisher? Yeah. That's great.
We definitely knew what we were doing. And I wanted to do that again with him. But we couldn't log into the account. It didn't work. So I don't know what's going on. I might try again, see if I can figure it out. Because they can't just delete your account because you don't play.
No, they can help you unlock it. Yeah, their customer service can help you unlock it.
And if anything, you might get a free deck when you log in if it's been a while.
Oh, you probably do. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that. Okay, yeah.
That drew your card for 3. The Dancing Swords.
Dancing Sword.
And I was like, why do you run Dirty Rat? And I just didn't run that. I'd rather run Nat, the Dark Fisher, and Dancing Swords than Dirty Rat. I was so good.
Oh gosh, that's awesome.
That's hilarious. So Nate, what did you mentioned you've been playing some Murloc Shaman, hey?
Yeah, so I've been hanging out with Blutrane and NHL and 6J and Ben and some of those folks over in Burns Discord playing, and I played a lot of Murloc Shaman over the past week, and it's fun. It's super fun. I think it is. I was chatting with Blutrane earlier, and he's like my local Shaman expert. I think that this is probably the strongest Shaman deck at the moment, or at least maybe the most powerful. I don't know, but it's really fun. It's really fast. I really like it. I mean, it's pretty straightforward to play. I mean, you always want a 1-drop, but it curves out really well. So 1, 2, and 3. Underbelly Angler is like an infinite like Murloc generator. And I think with this past set, the deck really got a lot of the tools that it needed that it didn't have. Like, it wasn't good enough previously. But now you've got No Fin Can Stop Us, which is really strong. The nerf to Crab Rider hurt, but it still feels strong. I really, really like Lushwater Scout. It's the 1/3 that gives, when you play a minion, it gives +1 attack, I think, and rush. And so that into like Mermy is really strong. Toxfin is a good card. And again, you have that same kind of wombo combo here with Firemancer, Flurgle, and the Toxfin. That's a full board clear, and that's a lot of fun as well. And so yeah, it's just an absolute blast. And so I might play it later tonight. Still kind of grinding away those Shaman wins, about 30 games away, but getting really close to the 1K and having an absolute blast. So yeah, big shout out and thank you to Blutrane for spending some time teaching me how to play this, and good people. Yeah, and I had a lot of fun with it. So
if Maxie can play 1,000 Warlock games in a week, you can definitely get 30 wins in the next couple days.
I was so Kenray wanted to bring Murloc Shaman last week. I'm pretty sure he ended up bringing it. Yeah, he did. And I was trying it out because he was playing Odd Warrior against Murloc Shaman. For some reason, he made me play Murloc Shaman against Odd Warrior, which is quite rude. But yeah, so I tried it, and it's so satisfying getting like Underbelly Angler, and if it sticks, you get just so much value, and it's good to have
tons, yeah.
It's definitely really powerful because it just means you beat the other aggro decks. I really think Shaman is that one class that has anti-aggro aggro. Like, you know, even Shaman, Murloc Shaman, even like aggro Shaman, you just go over the top with stats, and you're a bit slow because most of the time you're trying to give your stuff extra health and stuff like that, or like +1/1, which isn't that crazy against control, but it means you get good trades because giving it +1/1, your opponent, say, plays their cards because they think, oh, this will mean I get the right trade. And then you drop a Rockpool Hunter, so you get really good trades. But against control, they're going to clear stuff no matter what you do. So it's not like you're randomly giving it +1/1. Like the instant speed kind of thing makes it strong. Your opponent doesn't play around it. But against control, you're just giving your thing +1 attack, which isn't that great. They're still just going to get rid of it.
Yeah,
but
I felt like... I'm sorry. I was going to say, with control, it kind of feels like you got to go all in. I mean, you're not going to win the long game, so you got to go as aggressively as possible and just jam. You know, you're looking for a low curve, and you're looking to play minions on 1, 2, and 3 and just smash face. I think as fast as you can, because you're not going to win. I mean, there's potential, but it's really difficult to win the long game.
There's probably no point in overthinking it.
No, but I agree with what you said, Maxie, in terms of out-aggroing aggro. Like, I mean, I was facing other aggro decks, Odd Paladin and Pirate Warrior, and because you can go wide and you can buff your stuff relatively easy, you know, you do pretty well against those decks. And I had a blast with it.
You have the ice fishing as well to like get some refill, some actual draw. Also, the main thing that I just realized is like, the Lushwater Scout and the South Coast Chieftain or Chiefin, sorry, like the new stuff is just so good against aggro.
Yeah.
Like it's like how Pirate Warrior runs that 2/2 that deals 2 damage.
Yeah.
It's just having clears, and then you with Mermy and Spawn Pool Forager with the Lushwater Scout. It's insane. You just get Omega Rush, and you can clear anything. Like, just a simple 1 mana 1/1 with Reborn becomes deal 4 to minions for 1. And you usually stick it because it's a 1/3. So, yeah, that can also help go over the top. Obviously, the Flurgle and Toxfin. You have so much board clear, and also a lot of board presence. So, yeah. But it just seems a bit slow against control in the meta. But luckily, there's a lot of aggro, and when Soul Stealer goes away, that's another control deck gone. So it should be like really powerful. And as soon as Soul Stealer goes, I'm gonna play a bunch of Aether Mage because aggro, like the aggro that's happening is probably gonna be mainly Dark Glare and stuff like that. That's very board based, but less just Go Face because you don't need to run Go Face aggro. So Aether Mage can survive. It can beat stuff like Odd Paladin, Handbuff Paladin, Dark Glare. Well, Dark Glare is actually a bad matchup if they run Zeph, but if they don't, you can beat that kind of stuff. And it's such a fun deck to play because you play like 50 cards in a turn. But anyway, I've changed the subject.
All good.
Well, let's sort of switch gears here a little bit and jump into our weekly challenge. I wanted to take a look at what we had been up to over the last week because we had a really fun one here that was brought to us by Ben Hearthstone that thematically we were right in line with the new mini set being released. And so last week's challenge was using Mutinous the Devourer. Again, this is the new legendary Murloc with the battle cry, eat a minion in your opponent's hand, gain its stats. And so our listener challenge for last week was who can make the biggest stat Mutinous through eating your opponent's minions. And we had some people participate. Big shout out to our runner-up Wildcard. He did pretty incredible. He had 2 minions that were really high stats. So the first off is 15-19 Mutinous, and then he had one other that was a 14-21. So huge. Like, this is really cool to see happen, right? And that's just our runner-up. So the winner is our friend Kenray. And so check this out. The screenshot got a little buggy for some reason, but you can see it here with a 28-28 Mutinous.
Wow.
Right? That's crazy.
So I see a brand there. So what happened here? He ate a couple of something.
Yeah. So not only did he eat a couple of somethings, So I think that this was kind of a combo here because Kenray was able to get his opponent 2 copies of Deathwing and then used Bran and like ate them both or ate it twice or something. It was something like that, right? I could be wrong. It was something like that. But basically, here's the screenshot. But yeah, the ticket or the Mutinous ate 2 Deathwings. Or maybe it just ate the Deathwing twice because of Bran. That's probably more accurate.
Okay, so on the taskbar, right, or whatever, on the left, you can Expired Merchant into Silas. So I assume the Expired Merchant discarded the Deathwing, Silas, and gave his opponent the Merchant. That's what it looks like happened. And then maybe killed it off into double Mutinous. I think it looks like that's what happened. Maybe he did it all right. Because I also see that he has a 1/5 that at the end of a turn effects trigger twice. So I think he did that with Thorison, because you can also see that it's none of that stuff is from his opponent. So clearly he did this all in one turn. So I think what he did is made it all cost 2 less, then goes Expired Merchant for the discarding Deathwing, swap it, kill it off, and all this stuff costs 2 less. So you're paying 0 mana, then 5 mana, then 0 mana, and then you go coin Bran and the Murloc, because also that Murloc, as you see as he hovered it, cost 5. So it seems like he did the double Emperor Thurison ticks.
Oh, yeah.
I could be pretty sure that's what it looks like happened. And so he gave his opponent the Deathwing and double killed it with a Mutinous for a total of 11 mana. So he had to have the coin, apparently. Wait, does he have a quest on? Can I check? Because if he has a quest going on, he might have used that 3/2 that gives him the coin. I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
I think that seems like it's what happened. We got the same mutinous.
I think, but it's hard to tell. But yeah, 2828 is incredible. Like, I've never seen one that large before. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Okay, I really didn't think it was gonna get that big.
No, right? Well, that's awesome. I
On the
all we said in terms of rules, all we said is it has to get that big by eating something else. You can play, you can use all your tricks. What we didn't want to see is like you can't play your mutinous and then buff it with like,
kind of.
with any sort of buff cards. Like
Yeah.
that's not the spirit. It has to get the stats by eating something. So if you want to use brand, that's fine. If you want to reduce mana cost, that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
So this is great. So Kenray, congratulations. We'll reach out and you get a couple of packs on us plus a bunch of bragging rights. So that's super cool. Very exciting. We do have another listener challenge this week that is brought to you as an idea by Maxiebon. So the challenge for this week is to play the most cards possible in a single turn. Like, how many cards can you play in one single turn? So this is going to be a little bit difficult to prove. So what my ask here on this one is, rather than sending us a bazillion screenshots, like, please send us a link to like an HS replay or a Firestone replay or video it on your screen or on your phone somehow or whatever. I mean, if you want to send us a million screenshots, like, we can look at the sidebar, but like, I don't want to do that if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And so here's the deal. Because this has to be done APM style. So you're playing this either on ladder or in casual. But it's got to be in constructed. Number one, no Tavern Brawl, because you could go hog wild in this week's Tavern Brawl because you pay life for stuff, and so that's out of the question. But you can do it in casual. You can do it in ladder. You cannot play against the Innkeeper. You can't do it in like a solo mode, basically, because there's no timer. And you can't play against a friend because that's too easy. So play. The challenge is the most cards played in a single turn. And yeah, what you want to do is send us a copy of your link to your HS replay or your Firestone replay or video recording. If you have to do screenshots, I guess you can, but if you could try to make them more easily digestible for us somehow, that would be preferred.
I feel like taking screenshots while you're APMing might be hard.
That would sort of defeat the purpose. Yeah. You would lose valuable time for sure. The way that you get these to us is in our Discord. So there is a channel called Weekly Challenges. Just post them there. You can post your link, and or whatever. If you have some kind of video file, you might have to put it up on like a Dropbox or Google Drive or something and link it to us. But yeah, I'm interested to see how that goes and see who can play the most cards in one turn. I think that Maxi has maybe participating in this one with some ideas already. Yeah. So I'm excited to see how that goes. Yeah.
I need Zuma APM.
That's hilarious. I'm looking forward to seeing like the count start at. I love these types of challenges where it's like, oh, this person played 12 cards in a turn. Oh, like, well, this person just played 15, right? Like, it's gonna be pretty cool to see.
It's so fun to watch people like one up each other. Yeah, it's great.
Honestly, if they do it just from playing random stuff, like maybe someone will just play, APM mage or something and just happen to play that many. Or they'll do some specific combo where they can like play Infinite, like maybe Aether Mage. I don't think this is correct, which is why I'm just saying. Like if you do Aether Mage and you just do Antonidas, you can play Infinite Fireballs. But it will take ages and you eventually need to kill someone. You need to clear your own board, then Fireball or your own Antonidas. It doesn't really work. So that's a bit challenging to do. You'd have to you can't even target anything that's immune. So you can't really do that. You can't do Aether Mage. You can't just spam Fireballs and then eventually kill someone, because that's not enough spells, probably. Unless you somehow make a big minion. Seems too challenging to me, though. I'm gonna try something else.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
All right, you guys. Well, I think that pretty much kind of wraps up the show for us. We had a lot of fun tonight, though. Before we go, definitely do want to say a big shout out, a big thank you to the patrons of our show. So first off, thank you to Shokunin, who is the executive producer of our show. Thank you very, very much for all of your support. And also thank you to our patrons, Disruptor108, Claudette G, Daniel B, Wildcard, Aramorn, Ben from Work, AJ Gomez, and Number Theory. Thank you all very much for being patrons of the show. We appreciate your support. If anybody watching or listening is interested in supporting the show financially, you can visit our website at borntobewildhs.com. If you click on the Find Us page, there is a link to our Patreon. We've got plans as low as $1 a month, and we appreciate any support that we can get. It is definitely not required. We are happy just to have people watching and listening. So thank you all very much. That being said, if you are somebody who's on Twitch a lot and you are interested in unlocking our emotes, you can do that by subscribing to our channel here on Twitch. Finally, big shout out and thank you also to Firestone Deck Tracker, who has provided us with premium access. It is a very, very fun deck tracker. We enjoy using it. Their UI is absolutely gorgeous. And I know they're relatively new to the scene, but they're open to suggestion, making a lot of updates lately. And it's just kind of exciting to see all of that unfold. You can download it for free at firestoneapp.com. There is a premium version. It costs $2.99 a month. If you're interested in removing the ads, I don't feel like it's really necessary because they don't get in the way of anything. But that is available if anybody is interested. Maxie, thank you so much for joining us tonight, especially all the way from Australia. It's we're here on Friday night. It is Saturday morning where you're at, and so it's always interesting dealing with time zones, especially international ones. But thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, and it's been a blast.
Yeah, we really, really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, before we go, would you like to tell people where they can find you if they want to interact with you online or follow your content, watch your YouTube videos, or anything like that?
Yeah, so I have Twitch, twitch.tv/Maxiebon1234. And I also have a Twitter, which is it's like my name, but I kind of screwed it up. I think it's Max_out. But it's meant to be my full name. I don't know how it suddenly got to like half of my full name. Because my full name is Max_out. Well, Maximilian technically, but Max_out, I'm pretty sure is my Twitter. Should be. And yeah, so my Twitch is Maxiebon1234, or twitch.tv/Maxiebon1234.
Excellent. And any other shout outs or anything that you wanted to do before we before we call it a night?
Well, Radioactive asked for a shout out. I don't even think he streams anything, but sure. And Kenray, pretty sure I don't know if he still streams, but at least go and drop a follow, because he's been helping me out on Born to Be Wild, the listener series. So yeah, he's chill. Nice.
Well, hey, we're rooting for you in the finals. Really excited to see how that all plays out. And thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Right. Hydra, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Hydralisk_HS, and you can always come and find me and everybody else here and a bunch more people in our Discord. I highly recommend everybody come check it out. We've got a great community there. We've got deck lists for every single class and just great discussion, and it's a really good community. So if that's something you're looking for in the wild community, come check it out.
Nice. As for me, I'm very active on Twitter. You can find me at NateWolfTCG. It's NateWolfe TCG. And more importantly, you can find the show at borntobewildhs.com. Again, borntobewildhs.com. On our website, you will find links to all of our audio podcasts. We've got some parody songs up there. We've got links to our YouTube, and then links also to our the Discord channel and things like that. Also, if you're looking for wild players or wild streamers to follow every single guest that we've had on the show, links to them are up on our website as well. And so we've got links to their YouTube pages and Twitters and Twitches and all of that stuff. And so definitely recommend checking it out. Yeah, that is it for us tonight. We will be back again next Friday with another special guest. And thank you to everyone who is listening, especially to those of you who are watching us live. It's always fun to hang out and interact with you all. So we will see you all next week on another new episode of Born to be Wild.
See ya.
Bye.
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 Born to be wild.